This is the I Can Do Anything podcast. My name is Colin. Today I will be covering the NBA games that took place from Wednesday until last night, Friday night. There were 6 games on Wednesday night. We'll just get right into it. The games weren't the greatest on Wednesday night. The Bulls and the Hornets pretty much, it looked like it was a good game, 126 to 125 Hornets, but neither team is very good. Pistons, Pacers, Cavs, Magic, T-Wolves, Nets was notable. Kyrie scored 50 points in a Nets loss in overtime to a non-playoff team in the West. Now, the West is obviously pretty damn good. I don't know. I feel like people are reading into this Kyrie scoring 50 points. You know what? I don't know why I said that. I have no idea. I haven't heard anybody really talk about Kyrie scoring 50 points. I was watching a majority of this game, but then switched over and was watching the 76ers and the Celtics. So I didn't actually see the end of this game. But let's see. Kyrie finishes with 50 points on 17 of 33 shooting, 51.5% from the field, 7 of 14 from 3, 50% from 3. So this is going to be Kyrie pretty much the entire year for these Nets. He's going to take, I would say maybe this year Kyrie averages 27 shots per game. 33 is a little high. He's not going to score 50 every night. He'll probably end up. I could see Kyrie averaging a career high this year with the Nets. They certainly don't have as many scoring pieces as the Celtics did last year with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Al Horford and a number of guys off the bench that, are capable scorers, guys that can put the ball in the hoop a little bit. Marcus Smart, the white boy whose name is escaping me for some reason right now, out of Butler, who with the fucking horrific ankle injury. Why can't I think of his name? Anyway, I think he's going to score. This is going to be a career scoring season for Kyrie. Kyrie, I don't think he will. I think James Harden will more than likely still win the scoring title, but Kyrie has a good shot at winning the scoring title. And he, there's going to be a lot of games where he shoots potentially 30 plus field goal attempts per game. Finished with 8 rebounds and 7 assists in this game, was plus 18. But in a loss to a team that's probably not even going to be in the playoffs in the West. I don't know. I don't really read too much into it. I think Kyrie's going to have a career season scoring-wise, but the Nets may make the playoffs. If they do make the playoffs, they'll probably lose in the first round. I'm not as big on this team being, having a ton of good pieces. I don't really see I don't know, the culture thing that Kyrie and KD referred to when asked about why choosing Brooklyn. They certainly if New York was the destination, they certainly have a better culture and are more apt to win right now, or at least sooner than the Knicks are. So I guess if you're just choosing between the two LA or the two New York teams, then this team makes a little more sense. But I just don't see tons of potential in this Nets team. Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, is really, really underrated. He's currently coming off the bench. I'm surprised that he doesn't play. Well, I don't know. Karis LeVert is a legit shooting guard. Taurean Prince they have at power forward. Joe Harris at the small forward. Joe Harris provides the shooting, like the pure shooting, maybe a little more than Dinwiddie, whereas Dinwiddie can be a scorer off the bench, and that's what he did in this game. Scored 14 off the bench, 6 of 13, 46.2% from the field. Dinwiddie's, I guess, like their sixth man, so I think that makes sense. I just don't see like tons of depth for this team. Even when they get Durant back next season, they're going to have a starting lineup of probably Kyrie. I think maybe Taurean Prince probably comes out of the starting lineup, and you go Kyrie Irving at point, Karis LeVert at the 2, or maybe Joe Harris at the 2 instead of Karis LeVert, and then so it could go one of two ways: Kyrie at 1, Karis LeVert 2, Joe Harris 3, Kevin Durant 4, Jarrett Allen 5, or Kyrie 1, Joe Harris 2, or Karis LeVert 2. Those two are really interchangeable, essentially. It just kind of depends on what you want more. I think it makes more sense to have Joe Harris at the 2 next season for them as a pure shooter over Karis LeVert as kind of a driver and a slasher and less of a pure shooter. So Kyrie 1, Joe Harris 2, Durant 3, or I guess you could even go LeVert 3. I think Taurean Prince probably comes out of the starting lineup, and then Durant 3 or 4, and Jarrett Allen 5. So yeah, that's really all I've got to say about that game. The rest of the games from Wednesday night, the Mavericks beat the Pelicans. No. I don't want to see Friday's scores. I'm trying to avoid seeing. Oh, wow. What was I looking at? There were more than 6. There were 11 games on Wednesday night. So the Heat beat the Grizzlies 120-101. That's not really, I don't know. I guess Ja Morant in his debut had 14 points. I don't know if Jimmy Butler even played in this game. His wife or baby mama, I don't know what his situation is, but somebody gave birth to his first child, so I don't even think he played in this game. Yeah, no, he didn't even play. So a good win for Miami against a really shitty Grizzlies team for the most part. I'm trying to avoid seeing these scores from last night. I'm currently watching the Lakers and Jazz game from last night on my phone while I record here at the radio station. The Thunder beat the the Thunder lost to the Wizards in Chris Paul's first game in OKC. It was their home opener also. Final score 97-85. Chris Paul finished with only 6 points. Wow. 30 minutes, 6 points, 3 of 9 shooting, 33% from the field, 5 turnovers. Wow, a terrible opening night for Chris Paul. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played really well, though. 28 points on 58% shooting, 10 of 17 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 4 assists. Was their high scorer. Gallinari had 18. This is going to be a rough year for the Thunder. A really, really rough year for the Thunder. So then the Nuggets beat the Suns in overtime, 108-107. Jokic had 23, 14 rebounds, and 12 assists. That's going to be, the Joker is going to have a great fucking year this year. He had a really great year last year. I believe he finished in my top 6 in the MVP matrix. I think I'll put together an MVP matrix starting next Thursday. It didn't really make sense, only being 2 nights into the NBA season to do a Thursday MVP matrix in week 1. But I will start a very early MVP matrix for next week, next Thursday's episode. Trailblazers beat the Kings 122-112. Lillard finished with 35 points. And the Lakers... Wait. Oh, no. I'm looking at... Fuck. God damn it. I'm looking at Friday. Damn it brought me back to fucking Friday. Oh my gosh. Okay, so scratch that. The Thunder lost. This just fucked me all up. The Thunder lost to the Jazz I did watch a little bit of that game on Wednesday. Fucking damn it. The Lakers beat the Jazz in this game. I really hate watching these Lakers games especially, but I try to watch all these games without seeing the final scores. On my laptop and on my computer at work and on my phone, NBA offers a hide the scores feature, and I'm on this computer at the radio station, and the scores aren't hidden because obviously I'm trying to see the scores and talk about the box scores, and it hides all the box scores and all. Fuck! God damn it. A really low-scoring game, this Lakers and Jazz game, though. So anyway, let me get back to Wednesday, as I've mixed a little bit of this up now. So 76ers and the Celtics. 76ers won 107-93. Ben Simmons finished with 24 points, 9 assists on 11 of 16 shooting, 68.8% from the field. Ben Simmons always shoots a pretty high field goal percentage just because of the dunks and layups, basically, that he shoots. Joel Embiid only played 23 minutes, finished with 15 points. All five of their starters finished in double figures. 15 for Tobias Harris, 16 for Al Horford in his 76ers debut against his former team. Not tons of scoring off the bench, but it was enough against the Celtics. Gordon Hayward, there's the guy. That's the name I was looking for earlier. Finished with 25 points on 53% shooting, 8 of 15. 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Jason Tatum, 21 points. So Gordon Hayward and Jason Tatum will probably, Kemba Walker in his Celtics debut only finished with 12 points on 4 of 18 shooting from the field, 22% shooting, 1 of 6. So not the greatest debut for Kemba Walker in the green and white for the Celtics. Anthony Davis ahead from LeBron James and one. Dude, it's been fun to watch as I'm just about to halftime of this game. LeBron's been playing great defense, man. In both of these first two, that's a fucking travel. Holy shit. 1, 2, maybe not. So let me go back to Wednesday and wrap up Wednesday in the NBA. Nuggets and Trailblazers was kind of the headlining game for, I believe these were ESPN games on Wednesday. And Nuggets won 108-100 over the Trailblazers. Jamal Murray finished with 14. Jokic finished with 20 on 57% shooting, 2 assists, 13 rebounds. Will Barton finished with 19. Torrey Craig had 10 off the bench. Gary Harris, an underwhelming 8 points, 27% shooting, 1 of 5 from 3. For Portland, Damian Lillard finished with 32, 10 of 21 shooting, 47.6% from the field, 3 of 10 from 3, 8 assists. CJ McCollum, an underwhelming 12 points. Hassan Whiteside finished with 16 points on 85% shooting, 19 rebounds. That's a pretty good game for Hassan Whiteside. It'll be interesting to see how his career, how his season materializes in Portland this season. Okay, let's move on to Thursday then. Thursday, I believe there were only 3 games on Thursday. Those were Thursday was a TNT game, a TNT day. The Hawks beat the Pistons 117-100. Who gives a fuck? And then so this is a good one. The Rockets and the Bucks. This is gonna be a really, really fun season of shitting on the Rockets on this podcast. The Rockets led this game pretty much the entire way. And then with 5 minutes left, Giannis fouls out after sparking a 10-0 run to go from about down 7 or 8 to up 7 or 8. And then at the 5-minute mark, up I think 5 or 6, Giannis fouled out with 30 points in 28 minutes, 11 of 17 from the field, 64.7% from the field, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, so a triple-double for Antetokounmpo. The rest of their starters finished in double figures, but low double figures. Wesley Matthews, who's going to be a great piece, who I kind of forgot that they picked up in the offseason, finished with 14, 2 of 8 from 3, 6 of 12, 50% from the field. Brook Lopez finished with 11 and played really great for them with Antetokounmpo down the stretch out. He kind of reverted back to old Brook Lopez, had a couple post scores, a couple and ones that kind of sealed the win for them. Eric Bledsoe finished with 11. Chris Middleton finished with 11, kind of an underwhelming performance from him, but Ilyasova was great off the bench, again, especially in crunch time with Antetokounmpo out. He hit a couple of big mid-range jump shots to help seal the win. Pat Connaughton had 10 off the bench. Kyle Korver had 5 off the bench in 15 minutes. But James Harden and Russell Westbrook played flashy. They played pretty well together for pretty much the entire game, and then basically shot themselves out of this game late with Antetokounmpo out. I mean, that's the fascinating part to me is that with Antetokounmpo out in the last 5 minutes, they weren't able to figure it out. Chris Webber continues to remain delusional as to there was at one point he's talking about how Harden and Westbrook teaming up, and these are pretty much everybody who anybody who pays attention to the league, they're two favorite people to hate on, and he said something to the tune of I can't understand why, which just goes to show Chris Webber's ignorance. Chris Webber was the same type of guy. Chris Webber was basically the power forward 2000 equivalent of James Harden and well, more, I guess, Russell Westbrook. He was a great player, a really great talent, but never on a winning team, never really wanted to take less money to go play with other great players. Westbrook and Harden aren't taking less money to play with each other, two great players, but I don't know. They just didn't really know how to sacrifice for the team in the little ways. It's about the details if you're going to win in the NBA, and James Harden and Russell Westbrook want to play flashy. They want to score a lot of points, and Chris Webber was the same way. Chris Webber at one point also said after it was a transition play where James Harden dropped the ball off to Russell Westbrook, and then Westbrook finished with a dunk and landed and was yelling, and these guys are doing all their fucking, James Harden's raising the roof, and they're doing all their fucking antics, and then the Bucks without Giannis Antetokounmpo, I mean, the comeback was led by Antetokounmpo. He was really great in this one. But the Bucks held off the Rockets without Antetokounmpo. And after that dunk by Westbrook, Chris Webber said, I have written in quotes, "I told you this would work." And I think he said something, James Harden drops the ball off to Westbrook and then says to the critics or whatever, "I told you this would work," and then and then the Rockets go on to lose the game. Chris Webber, this isn't going to work, man. This is going to be really, like, I'm going to hate watch the Rockets the majority of the season and just watch Russell Westbrook and his new hairdo that looks like those two thingies that look like two little strands of hair that he's got tied together that like dangle down onto his forehead. It looked like those two little like probe thingies that you see on like alien characters on TV that like move around, like off just above somebody's forehead or the alien's forehead. And Russell Westbrook already kind of looks like an alien. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun shitting on the Rockets this season. James Harden only scored 19 points, though. And he took a lot of horrible fucking shots. There was one transition where it was 3-on-1. He had the ball. He had two guys on the wing and one defender in the middle. And James Harden shot a contested pull-up three by the one defender that was defending that transition 3-on-1 and missed a three. But he only had 19 points on 2 of 13. 15% shooting. 1 of 8 from 3, 12.5% from 3, 7 rebounds, 14 assists, though. He did distribute the ball really well. He had a couple of really nice passes to Clint Capella. Russell Westbrook had 24 points, 7 of 17, 41% shooting from the field, 3 of 7, 42.9% from 3, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, these guys really they staff the stat sheet. They stuff the stat sheet. But it's just not going to equal wins for the Rockets this year. I predict this year they probably win less games than the Rockets have since Dwight Howard left. Since the James Harden era includes when Dwight Howard was there. But they've had they finished like first or second those 2 years, those 2 or 3 years after Dwight Howard left. I predict that they win less games than the past 3 or 4 years since James Harden been there without Dwight Howard, because they didn't really win too many games. I don't think they finished in the top like 3. When Dwight Howard was there. But yeah, I predict they win the fewest amount of games that they have since that James Harden era without Dwight Howard this season. I believe that was the last game. Oh no, I'm into Thursday now. So then the second game was the Clippers and the Warriors. The most points that the Warriors have given up in the Steve Kerr era, 141 points for the Clippers as they beat the Warriors 122-141. Kawhi Leonard finished with 21 points in just 21 minutes. They didn't really need him for a majority of the end of this game. It was quite the blowout. He shot 52.9% from the field, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Patrick Patterson had 20 points. Zubac, 16 points. Landry Shamet, 11. Patrick Beverley, 5. Montrezl Harrell had 18 off the bench. Lou Williams, 22 off the bench. JaMychal Green, 9. Harkless, 10. This was a garbage game for the most part for the Clippers. The Warriors, it's going to be an interesting season. D'Angelo Russell, after the Clippers got out to I think it was an 11-0 start, D'Angelo Russell had, I think it was the Warriors' first 10 points, and then the Clippers called a timeout at 11-10. But D'Angelo Russell started off hot, finished with 20 points. Steph Curry finished with 23 points on 40% shooting, was 2 of 11 from 3 though, 18.2% from 3, 8 turnovers for Curry. 8 assists for Russell. It's going to be a weird year for the Warriors, man. Draymond Green played 28 minutes. Got hurt a little bit, had 11 points. This is a very, very different looking Warriors team. It's hard to judge the Warriors off of this first game because they were playing the best team in the league right now, probably the best team in the league throughout this entire season, the Clippers. But man, the Warriors could really struggle this season. Steph Curry and Russell are gonna have to play a lot better, and I just don't see those two being a real dynamic duo. I think Russell Westbrook and James Harden will be a better duo than D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry will this season. So then from last night, I didn't watch any of these games from last night. There were 9 games last night. To highlight last night's games, though, however, the Celtics and the Raptors. Celtics won 112-106. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both had 25 points. Siakam had 33 points. T-Wolves Hornets. T-Wolves win that one. Nets Knicks. Who cares? Oh, so Kyrie had 26 points and a go-ahead 3 with 22 seconds left to barely beat a horrible Knicks team. That was in Brooklyn. I'm sure the atmosphere for that one was pretty good as New York battled early. Bulls beat the Grizzlies. Who cares? Mavs and Pelicans. Doncic finished with 25 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists in a Mavs win over the Pelicans. I don't know. The Pelicans aren't going to be too good this year, though. I don't know. They're going to surprise people. They're really young, though. The Pelicans will likely struggle early. They'll probably find their groove, once Zion's got 15 to 20 games under his belt, maybe they have a nice little streak in January. Although most rookies kind of struggle in January. Maybe late December they start playing well. They may go on like a little, 8-3, 10-4 type of win streak like that in December or January. But I don't see the Pelicans doing a whole lot this season. Certainly in the West, it's going to be difficult for them to make the playoffs. Then the Wizards and Thunder, that's the game that I looked at where Chris Paul really struggled. The Nuggets and Suns I already talked about. Jokic finished with 23, 14, and 12 in overtime over the Suns. The Trailblazers beat the Kings. And the game that I'm watching now, the Lakers and the Jazz. LeBron James finishes with 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists, and a 95-86 win over the Jazz. I'm at halftime in this game right now, and I actually paused it once it got to halftime. I may watch the rest of that game from home when I get home. Now that I fucking ruined the final score, Donovan Mitchell finished with 24 points on 7 of 15% shooting from the field, 46.7%. 0 of 2 from 3, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Rudy Gobert, pretty underwhelming performance, 8 points on 50% shooting, 9 rebounds, no blocks. Mike Conley hasn't played well for the Jazz at all. In his first game, I think was like 1 of 6 from the field and didn't really have very many points. 13 points in this one, 3 of 11 from the field, 27% from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 4 turnovers, no steals, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Moutier had 12 points off the bench. Got called for a flagrant 1 on a trip in the first half of this game that I didn't think was even close to a flagrant. He kind of fell, and as he fell, his butt was like grounding him as an access point, sort of. And as he fell, he kind of like got spun, so his body was spinning, and therefore his legs were moving backwards. And as his legs were going backwards, as Avery Bradley got the steal, he tripped Avery Bradley. I didn't think it looked intentional at all. I didn't think it looked, what was the terminology that they used for the flagrant? It wasn't a basketball move. I don't know. I didn't think it was a flagrant at all. It'll be interesting to see how these coaches, I didn't talk about this last episode, but there were a couple of coaches, one that I saw for sure, these coaches' challenges. I think I saw 2 actually. Maybe the second one was in the second night on Thursday. I think it was in the 76ers and Celtics game. But this coach's challenge thing is really stupid in my opinion. They could do a lot better job of just getting the fucking call right by watching it. And the fucking replay. The replay thing pisses me off. I don't know why. It doesn't actually piss me off. It just is kind of funny to me. I don't know. It's just really stupid that the NBA can't. I'm just sort of fascinated that the NBA can't just figure it out. Like, you have a replay center. Just put a fucking ref in the replay center. Put a goddamn earpiece in the head ref that's at the game and review every play and just keep playing. You don't have to stop playing. And if a ref sees, oh, that was, then stop the play. Like, if there's something that you need to stop the play for, then you can, I don't know. It's so stupid to me that there can't just be a head ref at the replay center, and the head ref that's reffing the game in the arena has an earpiece in, and they can communicate. And stop play when they need to. If there's a foot on the line, they can say, hey, his foot was on the line. We're going to change that. You don't need to stop play. If the ball was tipped off of somebody and they got the call wrong, you just watch it really quick, change the call. I don't know. It doesn't seem that difficult to me, but the NBA seems to want to, get the NBA is a great fucking league, and Adam Silver gets a lot right. The NBA does a really, really great job, but this is just one thing. Maybe that's why it's so difficult for me to understand why they can't figure it out. They do so much right. They really do. And then this replay thing, it almost seems like they want it to be difficult. It almost seems like they want it to take time and to add like another like element of like I don't think it's is it marketable to struggle with I guess the replay center is something that they want to be able to like cut to and like show, and then have Steve Jabby come on and explain. I don't just explain what the fucking call was. I don't really get the benefit of it, but something that clearly is bothering me. So I head to Holland tonight or today to go to a goddamn wedding. I really hate weddings. This is going to be, I anticipate this wedding being a really, really basic fucking wedding. And I'm going to have fun by making fun of it all night long. And oh boy, these early Saturday mornings are great though. I really enjoy waking up early, going to sleep early on Friday nights, starting my day early. I'm done with the radio stuff pretty much so I get here at about 3:30 or so in the morning. I wake up at about 2:30, and then I record everything from like 3:45 to 4:15-ish. Takes about a half hour to record all the stories, and then about a half hour to edit it. So that's right around usually 4:45, 5 o'clock-ish. And then I begin posting all the stories to their appropriate time slots. I do some more recording of a couple stories, maybe that come into my email from various, from the Indiana State Police or whoever, whatever sheriff's department is reporting a new crime or whatever it may be. I usually write up a couple new stories. This morning there weren't any, but I'm usually done around, so I go from about 3:45, 4 o'clock-ish, start recording, and then I'm usually done. This morning it was 6:15. Sometimes it's about 7 o'clock or so. But yeah, this morning I was done by 6:15. It is now 7:15. I will head to the grocery store, go to my office to edit and post this podcast, which I've already done, obviously, if you're listening to this. And then I'll head home and pack it up and head to Holland for this wedding, spend some time with my family this weekend, and then head home back to Angola. It's weird that I call Angola home now. I don't know why I'm running down my weekend for you. This has just basically been the podcast where I fucking read box scores and I just say what people shot from the field and how many points they scored. You could just very easily go and look all this stuff up on the NBA. If you give a fuck, you probably already have. And if you give a fuck, you're probably not listening to this. You probably just went and looked up the box scores or watched the damn game by yourself. I don't really know. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this to be able to document. Why am I now I'm just talking to myself. You guys can just tune out if you want. I'm doing this to be able to, every once in a while throughout each podcast, from here and there, to make these little predictions, to be able to look back at the end of the season and say, I was right, guys. Russell Westbrook and James Harden weren't able to figure it out, and they lost in the second round to the Jazz. James Harden and Russell Westbrook lose in the second round again to a third-year Donovan Mitchell and a veteran point guard, Mike Conley, who also has never made it out of the second round, and Rudy Gobert, who is essentially just a defender and not really all that effective offensively at all, and Joe Ingles, the NBA equivalent of Karsten Clark, and Bogdanovich, I'm doing this so that I can predict that James Harden and Russell Westbrook will end up fucking losing in the playoffs. Thanks for listening, people. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm working on editing the visual element of that podcast that I teased a little bit, that we recorded last Saturday with a bunch of my buddies. Initially, I thought that I wasn't going to be able to. I thought that I really fucked up the whole recording, and that I figured out a way to post the video podcast, so I'm going to hold off posting it. I was initially thinking I would post it tomorrow on Sunday, but I'm going to hold off doing that. I'm going to work on editing that, and then maybe post it middle of next week or maybe next weekend. But that one will that one, I know that none of you are actually looking forward to it other than basically Sloan, who is really fucking excited to listen to it. But yeah, I'm going to hold off on posting that for a little bit. Have a great fucking weekend, people. Enjoy the NBA basketball slate. The Lakers play on Sunday, although there are no national television games this weekend in the NBA. Peace.